SANDTON Convention Centre where this is taking place. There's also a summit that's going to be happening the entire morning and today, and the Deputy President, in fact, is going to be the person opening this proudly SA Summit and Expo. But Palesa is there. Let's get an update from her just to find out. She's been there the whole morning, so perhaps she's seen some interesting things and met some wonderful people. Palesa, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Leanne. Indeed, we've been here since the early hours of the morning, but I must indicate that people are only starting to come in, so there isn't much of activities happening at this moment. Now, I've also recalled that during our first interview here, we spoke to the CEO of Proudly South Africa, Advocate SEDIBE, who was, basically giving the objectives and how far the summit comes and so on. But with me now is one of the main partners of Proudly South Africa to the summit, and he is the head of enterprise and supply chain development from BARCLAYS South Africa, Keaobaka Mahuma. I know you are very specific for me to say that you say my name right. Mr. Mahuma, good morning to you and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Good morning to the viewers as well.
Thank you very much indeed for your time. Now, let us, just first start by bringing an understanding to our viewers. When we talk about enterprise and supply chain development within BARCLAYS Africa, what is your job there?
So we work with small businesses and medium enterprises. We have 3 interventions for them. We help them to access finance, we help them to access the corporates, supply chains, and we also help them with what we call business development services. The whole intention is the people that we work with, they are generally don't qualify for traditional funding, because they may have a good business, but they don't have collateral that allows them to borrow traditionally. So what we then do is we fund them with what we call non-traditional ways, which we don't require collateral. But hopefully over a period of time, with these 3 interventions, we would be able to develop them from not being able to apply for banking funding independently to growing into businesses that can go and obtain a loan from the bank in the long term. So that's really the business, developing emerging businesses to make them into established businesses, working with corporate partners and other partners, giving them funding, business development support, and access to funding.
Now, earlier on, you were telling me that this is your 3rd year here at the summit.
Yeah.
Have you been able, to assist some businesses into, as you were explaining now, the mission and the vision of your department particularly? Have you been able to take particular businesses under your wing to ensure that they emerge and develop as well?
Yeah, so last year alone, through our business development support, we reached about 26,000 SMEs around the countries. We operate from 7 enterprise development centers around the country. Obviously, the bigger picture is to take the same model wherever we operate outside South Africa, but for now, if we just focus on the South African part.
But basically, I actually, my question was, more based on the summit itself. From last year or the past 3 years during the very same summit, have you been able to identify particular businesses to help them?
Yes, and to be very specific, this year, we brought 20 of them to the summit. Hopefully they'll be able to meet the necessary and relevant procurement decision makers, and they will be able to do further business from here.
And what do you look for in a business before you go about assisting them financially and monitoring them? What do you look for?
It depends, but generally there are 3 things to a business that makes it work. Industry, are you in the right industry? Even though you understand that even in a declining industry, you can find some good pockets of business. And secondly is the business itself. And the third is the entrepreneur themselves. Over the years with the people that we've worked with, we found out that unless those 3 things line up, something is going to break at some stage or the other. So that's why then our intervention, it's not about just money, because we realize you can give somebody the money, but if they are not running the business correctly, they're going to lose the money. So we look at the 3 things, and then we put our interventions from business development support, access to markets, and funding once we are satisfied that there's a business that works. The second thing is the business must work. The cash flow must make sense. If we're going to lend money into the business, it has to be able to afford to do the loan repayments, because otherwise that's irresponsible lending. So sometimes we assess the business and we have to take them through a process to get them procurement ready before we fund them.
Well, great stuff. I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it right there. That's Keaobaka Mahuma. He is the head of enterprise and supply chain development from BARCLAYS South Africa. They're partnering with Proudly South Africa, and as he was saying earlier on, that they have been in the previous years been able to identify businesses and undertaking them to fund them and monitor how they grow into becoming big businesses so that they can go back to the very same banks to go and make business loans. Well, that's basically what we have for you for now, but we will most definitely be returning. Let's take an ad break now.